Okay students, so here we're gonna have to study about the next topic, and the next topic we're gonna have to study about the main topic, which is protein. And Adamji preparation paper, it would be asked as important questions for long as compared for 2017 and 18 session preparation paper. The protein is somewhat the question which can be asked in long, so better to complete these things for long part. Now it would be the very easy question, you better know about what is protein, but cover these things from your notes. Just make a concept from over here, but better to make these from your notes. Whether it would be the notes from Adamji, Istrensen, Anisusan, or whatever it can be, the masters, whatever it be. So just try to make it from protein or from your notes. Okay, so here we're gonna have to study about protein, which can be important for 2017-18 session. It can be asked for your paper as well, regarding for preparation papers of Adamji. So what is protein basically? Protein basically, it is a compound which is responsible to produce growth, or what you can say, it is a compound. Either it is a compound which produces energy. No, it's not produce any energy. It is responsible to produce growth. It is produce energy, but that is not your level. But thing we're gonna have to make priority that what is protein? It is a compound which is responsible to produce growth. Okay. Now, the certain points which we can make it that 50% of the protoplasm constitute about protein. 50% of protoplasm is made up of what? Is made up of protein. Or what you can say, the 50% of the dry weight of the cell would be made up of what? Would be made up of protein. Bergelius is somewhat a scientist. There are some of the names of the scientists, Merdler and Bergelius. They are the scientists which discover the term protein in somewhat the era of 18. That is the era which is being present on your book of syntax book. So that is the thing which you can copy from over here, over there. Now, what is protein? It's a compound which is responsible to produce growth. 50% of the protoplasm is made up of protein. The 50% of the dry weight of the cell is made up of protein. Now, third one, if I'm talking about a part, protein is made up of what? Protein, basically we know that protein is a polymer, and it is being made up of what? It is being made up of certain monomers. Protein is a polymer which is made up of certain monomers, and the monomers of protein, we basically know that it is amino acids. So basically proteins are made up of what? Proteins are made up of chains of amino acids. Chain of amino acids which actively monomer, there are different chains of amino acid which makes protein. How many types of amino acid we have? Only 20 different types of amino acid. Just like 20 different types of amino acid can build thousands of protein. If I'm talking about in mammals, you better know what is mammals, as we have studied in chapter number 10. In mammals, 10,000 different types of protein would be present, and it would be made up of 20 different types of amino acid. So just remember this one, because it is the one which can be figured out in MCQ's part. So 20 different types of amino acid can make 10,000 various types of mammals protein. Just like the 26 alphabets makes so many words, just similarly 20 different types of amino acids makes 10,000 types of protein in mammals. Whereas it could be very indifferent, arthropods, mollusca, and other organisms. So that is the thing, that is basic things. What are the sources? If I ask you what are the sources of protein, from where we get protein? So protein we get it from meat, pulses, rice. No, not rice. Rice is full of carbohydrate. Meat, pulses, beans. These are the main sources of protein, as well as we can get it from certain milks as well. But the main sources of protein would be meat, pulses, beans. That is the main source of what? That is the main source of protein. Grams, what you can say. These are the main source of protein, and we basically know that proteins are made up of what? It is made up of amino acids, which is acting to be as a monomer of protein, and you better know what is monomer, what is polymer. So chain of amino acid linked together to form protein, and chain of amino acid when linked together to form protein, they form a polymer, and we know that when polymer is produced, the water is released. So here we're going to have to study that how what is the structure of amino acid and how it forms the protein, how it forms the polymer, how the water would be lost. So here we're going to have to see about the next part. I'm talking about the structure of amino acids. So we better know amino acids are what? Amino acids, they are made up of amino group, and one more thing we have. What is which acid we have in amino acid? Basically, if I'm talking about protein, the biochemical nature of protein that it is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, as well as in some cases it is included phosphorus and sulfur as well. So basically know that what are the elements which can be used in protein. It can be carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. The main constituent is carbon and nitrogen protein, as well as phosphorus and sulfur would also be added. And just see the main things we have in amino acid is carbon. Okay. Better see on the left hand side we have the amino group. On right hand side we have carboxylic acid, on top we have hydrogen, and on last we have is alkyl group. Now just see these things, that what are the things we have in that amino group, carboxylic acid, alkyl group, and that is the hydrogen group we have. So that is the thing we have in the structure of amino acid. So amino group, you can see that amino group is made up of nitrogen. Nitrogen have how many valence electron in the outermost shell? It has 5 valence electron, but over here we have only 2. It has 3 unpaired electron. The 2 would be filled, but 1 would be left, so it is partially negative. 1 would be left, so it would be partially negative. The 2 would be occupied, 1 would be left, 1 is lone pair. So 1 would be left, so it is referred to be as partial negative. But if I'm talking about carboxylic acid, it would be represented in a manner of like that. So simply we're gonna have to make it carboxylic acid in a manner of like that, and that's somewhat a basic structure of amino acid we have. Now what we're gonna have to see in next, that we have certain compounds, we have certain types of amino acid which we're gonna have to discuss regarding on your book. On your book it will be present, which will be glycine, serine, and alanine. Now the difference in glycine, serine, and alanine is the changes of the alkyl group. But remember, the changes would be the glycine, serine, and alanine would be the changes of the alkyl group. So you can see on glycine and serine and alanine what we have. That is the carboxylic acid, that is the hydrogen, that is over here we have the amino group, and over here instead of alkyl group, if we have the hydrogen, so it would be glycine. In case of serine, we have amino group, carbon, hydrogen, carboxylic acid, and in case of alkyl group we have CH2OH, so that compound would be serine. And if we have, in case of alanine, we have the amino group, carbon, carboxylic acid, hydrogen, and on last we have methyl group would be added, CH3, so it would be alanine. So it is present on the top of the things, from where you can copy that down. So the next thing which will be followed, that how the structure would be of amino acid would be formed. So simply glass, we better see over here, that's carbon, that's we have one shot of amino group, hydrogen, alkyl group, and carboxylic acid. Okay, and over here we have also the amino group, the alkyl group and we have the carboxylic acid. Where we see the oxalic acid would be referred in a way like that, so H and NH2 would be placed in a manner of like that. So we better know that when the condensation occurs, which means that when two amino acids, when two monomers, we better know that it is amino acids. It is one amino acid, it is another amino acid. So when these two amino acids just link together, so it forms condensation. And on previous we studied that in case of condensation, the water would be lost. So in case of over here, we have seen the H part and OH part just link together, in which the water would be released, and this compound would be directly linked. The carbon part links with the nitrogen part, and they are forming a part which is called they form a part which is called peptide bond. So that is in case of this, the peptide bond would be formed and the water would be lost when the two amino acids would be joined. And how they are forming these, so we can better see over here that many compounds link together, just one the compound, the bond formed between two amino acids, that is peptide bond, and the chain of bond formed between the amino acids, that is called what? That is called the many peptide bonds when linked together, it form peptide linkage. So that is the thing which you're gonna have to notice about peptide bond and peptide linkage, and that has been a very simplest thing you can get it. That is the main thing which we have for regarding protein. And after that, regarding the structure of amino acid, we better know to start with types of protein on the basis of structure. And we better know on the basis of the structure, we have following types of protein, in which the first type is primary structure. The primary structure will be formed in between the two sulfide bonds, so it will also refer to be as disulfide bond, because it is a bond formed between two sulfur, so it is also called a disulfide bond. In primary structure, according to the structure in which the amino acids are arranged in a linear pattern or in a straight line, so it forms a primary structure. If I am talking about secondary structure, so you better write when a helix structure would be formed. Helix, whenever you found the word helix, it meant to be as a spiral chain. It meant to be as a spiral chain. Then chain of amino acids, then helix meant to be as one spiral, sorry. When chain of amino acids are linked in a spiral pattern, so the more spiral would be the chain, the more amino acid would become, the more linear would be the chain, the less amino acid would become. So the number of amino acid would be less in primary structure as compared to the secondary structure. As we move on the tertiary and quaternary structure, the amount of amino acid would be increases. In case of one polypeptide, polypeptides, as you know, peptide bond that we have studied, poly means many peptide bond. In many peptide bond, as it can be calculated that we have approx about 100 amino acids. So the linear would be the chain of amino acid, the simplest or the less number of the amino acid will be have in primary structure, and as the structure goes complex, we have the greater number of amino acid in our structure. Now about the next part. The next thing, if I am talking about a part, that is called tertiary structure. Now, if I am talking about the part tertiary structure, in which we have the double helix. You know about helix? Then tertiary structure, that is double helix, a supercoiled structure or trifolded structure, but we can represent it in a manner of like that, a double helical structure in which many amino acids link together. And in the new version of book, you can get the example of primary, secondary, tertiary, as well as the quaternary structure of protein. Whereas if I am talking about the quaternary structure, it is being so much coiled, as you can see on the diagram which is being present on the book. Quaternary structure, it is being super coiled or super folded in nature, that you can see the structure of like that, but it will be more complex when we have in our book. So basically quaternary structure is a type of protein in which we can say that when the two tertiary structure combines, it forms the quaternary structure. And basically you better know that in case of hemoglobin part, the globin part of protein is basically the quaternary structure, and we know that in heme, that heme is the iron part, but the globin part, that is somewhat the quaternary structure of protein. So and they ask you regarding the long question regarding about protein. So first you're going to have to give the introduction, then about the structure of amino acid, then about glycine, serine and alanine, and after that you can give the types of protein on the basis of the structure, and at last you're going to have to add the functions. So that is the thing we have for protein, and after that we're going to have to go for the functions. Now I just give you the wordings for the functions. Better write it from your notes, better to make the points with yourself. So better I say to make it from the notes. But what are the functions which I can make you the concepts in order to study protein? So the functions would be that proteins make what? Protein makes the basic structure as well as the complex structure of the body. Similarly, it makes the basic structure such as hair and nails, that goes for the simplest structure, and according to the complex structure it makes the muscles and organs. So the simplest type of protein make the simplest type of structure, body structure. As we know that protein is a part which is responsible for growth, it makes the simplest structure, it makes the complex structure regarding muscles and organ, that is the complex organ. The muscles part, the myoglobin part, that is muscles part, that is we know that it is a type of protein. Here it is a type of protein, nail, organ, that is the complex structure, and that is the simplest structure. The simplest structure made up of primary and secondary, whereas the complex structure made up of tertiary and quaternary structure of protein. Moreover, it forms what? It is responsible to form enzymes. As we know that the enzymes are conjugated, or the enzymes are totally made up of protein. So that is the enzymes are mostly made up of protein as well. If I am talking about hormones, the peptide hormones, the modified amino acid, they all are protein in nature, as well as proteins are responsible to make, it is also present in cell membrane. You better make points. It is also present in cell membrane. It forms enzyme, it forms hormones. You better know what are enzymes for a hormone. It forms cell membrane. What next you're going to have to include in that? That is 5 main functions you're going to have to be included for the protein. That it makes the simplest structure, it makes the complex structure,